Hello, my name is Alistair Yeomans. I'm the manager of the Plant Healthy Certification Scheme, which is what I'll be talking to you about today. Before I start, I would like to thank the organisers of the Welsh Plant Health and Horticulture Conference 2020 for asking me to present today. The key areas that I will cover during this presentation are the formation of the Plant Health Alliance and the organisations that are involved, the publication of the Plant Health Management Standard in January 2019, how to start the process of applying the Plant Health Management Standard to your business or organisation, and an overview of the certification process. Now, you may have noticed the logo in the top right-hand corner of the screen. This is the United Nations International Year of Plant Health 2020 logo. You may also note the first 0 of 2020 in the logo is multicolored. This represents a link to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The most relevant goal for plants is 15, which indicates that by caring for and conserving plant-based terrestrial ecosystems, we can help tackle climate change and halt biodiversity loss. So why is there a need for an International Year of Plant Health? Well, simply put, our plants are under threat from a range of destructive pests and diseases. To take the trees in Europe as an example, a recent International Union for Conservation of Nature report indicated that 42% of European trees are considered as having a high risk of extinction, the primary threat being from invasive species, in other words, plant pests. On the left is a picture of oak processionary moth, which is an example of an insect pest that was first and accidentally introduced to England in 2005. Oak processionary moth is damaging to trees, woodland ecology, and the small hairs shed by the caterpillars can cause respiratory problems and rashes on people. On the right is a picture of a young ash tree infected with Cholera ash dieback disease. This fungal pathogen was first detected in the UK about 10 years ago. Ash dieback is now causing significant damage to the UK's ash population, with implications for woodland biodiversity and ecology, and also for the hardwood industries. In the UK, we have our own International Year of Plant Health 2020 website, which provides information on how everyone can become involved in the International Year of Plant Health. So what is the scale of the threat from plant pests to the UK? In the green circles are monetary estimates of the benefits plants provide us with. These estimates take into account social, environmental, and economic valuations. The green circle at the top indicates that London's public green spaces provide us with £5 billion worth of value each year. £24.2 billion is the contribution to the UK's national GDP from ornamental horticulture and landscaping, and £270 billion is the total value of the benefits in perpetuity that woodlands provide to society in the UK. These monetary valuations represent considerable cultural, natural, as well as economic value to all of us here in the UK. So what is the threat? Since 1970, at least 20 exotic pests have been introduced to the UK that are currently causing damage to our trees and woodlands. There are 47 other pests that have not yet been detected in the UK that are capable of causing considerable damage to various tree species. And 595 is the most recent number of plant species that have been assessed as susceptible to Xylella fastidiosa. Xylella fastidiosa is a bacterial disease. It was detected in southern Italy about 8 years ago and is destroying many thousands of ancient olive trees. Authorities are desperately trying to stop it spreading in Italy. However, it has more recently been found in Spain, Portugal, and France. So the disease is moving closer to the UK. Xylella can also infect many garden favorites such as lavender, bay, periwinkle, and rosemary plants. It is likely that it would be devastating if Xylella was introduced and spread in the UK. So what is the cost of getting plant biosecurity wrong? In the case of one nursery, they estimated that their turnover would be reduced by £270,000 per year should they have an outbreak of Xylella on their site. £2 million was the approximate cost of eradicating an outbreak of Asian longhorn beetle, which was introduced to the UK in 2012. I'm pleased to say that the eradication of the pest was finally confirmed last year. However, it is worth noting that 31% of London trees are susceptible to this highly aggressive insect, so we must keep it from being introduced to the UK again. In terms of Callara ash dieback, it is estimated that the loss of ash trees will result in £7.4 billion worth of costs and losses to the UK in this decade alone. But how do the threats from plant pests relate to the horticultural trade? Well, unfortunately, the most common pathway for plant pests to be introduced to a new area is by the movement of live plants. This means the movement of plant material from one area to another. So the message is simple. Plants can carry damaging pests and transmit them to our gardens, farms, forests, and natural environment. In the case of Xylella, the European Commission describes Xylella as one of the most dangerous plant bacteria worldwide, with huge economic impact for agriculture, public gardens, and the environment. For further information on Xylella, I recommend watching a short YouTube video featuring Dame Helen Mirren that was produced as part of the Bridget Research Project. The Bridget Project specifically looks at the potential impacts of Xylella if it were to arrive in the UK. Of particular relevance to the horticulture sector is an explanation of the stringent measures that would be applied in the case of a Xylella outbreak occurring at a UK garden centre or nursery. So it was with this threat in mind that the Plant Health Alliance was formed in 2018. The organisations that make up the alliance include government agencies, trade associations, and environmental charities. The aim of the alliance is to promote and enhance plant health and biosecurity measures to protect plant species in the UK and beyond. The alliance produced the Plant Health Management Standard in January 2019 and are the governing body of the Plant Healthy Certification Scheme, which is run as a not-for-profit initiative. The scheme is based on the Plant Health Management Standard. People may be familiar with other types of schemes. On the left-hand side, there are some examples of certification marks from schemes that audit a range of activities ranging from responsible food production to environmental stewardship and ethical trading. The Plant Health Management Standard, as the name suggests, concentrates on plant health and biosecurity. It sets out a list of 23 requirements to enhance plant biosecurity and improve the health of plants that we buy, sell, and grow. It aims to enable businesses and organizations to demonstrate that they are operating responsibly and in a biosecure manner in terms of their plant health management systems. Integral to the Plant Health Management Standard are two key concepts. The first is the World Trade Organization's appropriate level of protection. The second is the International Plant Protection Convention's pest risk analysis. These concepts are normally applied at the national or regional level, and in the case of pest risk analysis, to a specific pest. The Plant Health Management Standard has adapted the principles of appropriate level of protection and pest risk analysis and applied them to a site or sites, that is, the areas where a business or organization is located and where it operates from. The aim is to map pest pathways and prevent pest introductions into a defined area. The Plant Health Management Standard takes a risk-based approach, So it is not as simple as setting quality control specifications. What we're aiming to do is to identify and lower the risks associated with growing and trading plant material to an acceptable level. The pest risk analysis process is at the heart of the plant health management standard. It places responsibility on a business or organization to conduct a systematic analysis of the critical points of their operations. It can be summarized as follows. The first stage is initiation. Identify the extent of a site or sites. List all of the host plants grown and handled. Identify the pests associated with the host plants, and map the pest pathways onto the site. The second stage is assessing the unmitigated plant biosecurity risk from the business or organization's operations. Third is pest risk management. That is, identifying the controls to reduce the risk to an acceptable level. Thereafter and ongoing is a monitoring regime and self-assessment process, all with a view to the continual improvement and development of robust pest management systems. These three stages have been taken from the International Plant Protection Convention's framework for pest risk analysis. So, the plant health management standard is applied to individual businesses or organizations, which is a first key level of protection and focuses on what an individual business or organization can enact. For the system to be fully effective, we need stakeholders across the supply chain for live plants to adopt the standard. Here is a simplified representation of plant supply chains, starting with stock plants on the left and ending with mature plants growing in a designed landscape on the right-hand side. So what we are trying to avoid is pests entering the supply chain on infected plants and spreading throughout our industry and wider environment. So the concept is to apply the standard to the full range of businesses and organizations so that plants can safely move through the supply chain. On the Plant Healthy website, there are guidance documents that assist businesses and organizations to conduct a pest risk analysis. By following this guidance, the aim is to reduce risk to an acceptable level of protection. On the left-hand side is the nursery guidance document. We also have guidance for garden centers and plant retailers, landscapers, arboricultural firms, and public gardens. These resources can be found on the Plant Healthy website under the Resources section. In this section, you will also find the Plant Health Management Standard itself and training modules to help you and your colleagues learn about the regulatory frameworks and the principles of plant biosecurity. On the website, there is a self-assessment tool to help you start applying the Plant Health Management Standard. It is free and easy to use. Once you have registered for a free account, you will be prompted to answer a set of questions that help you apply the Plant Health Management Standard to your business or organization. There are information boxes that help guide you through the process and help you understand how to meet each requirement in the standard. Once you have completed the questions, you will receive a score and a free downloadable report that is designed to help you apply the standard to your business or organization. When you're ready, you can contact one of the two certification bodies, Grown in Britain or NSF, by requesting a callback via the Plant Healthy website. They will ask you some questions about the size and nature of your business and provide you with an estimate cost for a Plant Healthy audit. Section C of the guidance document that I referred to earlier provides the framework that the auditors will use to assess your business or organization. This part of the guidance document also provides you with further information as to how to meet the requirements of the Plant Health Management Standard. There are, of course, other schemes that the Plant Health Management Standard relates to. There is the Ornamental Horticultural Assurance Scheme, formerly known as BOP. The planned appointment of NSF as a certification body is designed to align the Plant Healthy Certification Scheme with the OHAS standards. The OHAS standards are comprehensive standards covering all aspects of a plant nursery's operations. There is ISO 14001 environmental management. Feedback indicates that the Plant Healthy Certification Scheme provides support and evidence for a business's ISO 14001 environmental policy statement. And there is the Woodland Trust UK and Ireland Source and Grown Assurance Scheme for forestry. The Plant Health Certification Scheme aims to support UK ISG as it improves the plant biosecurity on a site that may grow internationally sourced plant material in proximity to UK ISG forestry stock. And what about plant passports, phytosanitary certificates, and international trade? From the 1st of January 2021, the arrangements for the movement of plants from the EU and within the UK will change. Updates will be posted on the UK's Plant Health Information Portal. In terms of plant movement, what the Plant Healthy Certification Scheme aims to do is improve the biosecurity of both national and international supply chains.
Hello.
Oh, good morning. I think.
Thank you very much indeed for that, Alistair.
Sorry, David.
There we are. Thank you very much indeed for that, Alistair. It was extremely informative and comprehensive, and it was a very thorough explanation of the scheme, which I think is a significant advance for the industry. It's a tremendous development that you've been working on. Welcome everybody to question and answers. If you've not joined us before and tried this, you'll notice at the bottom of the screen there's a bar saying ask a question, and if you can click on that and just type your question in, that will come through. So we've got about 15 minutes for questions, so it'd be great if you join in. If I could kick off on this then, please, Alistair. You explained a lot about the scheme and the standards and also various other schemes like the ISO and so on. There's quite a lot to take in, I suppose, in relation to this. What support could you give as an organisation, as Plant Healthy Alliance? What support could you give to someone whose questions about the standards and the scheme and perhaps is a bit nervous about applying for an audit? Is there anyone to talk to or help them through the process?
Thank you, David. Yeah, good question. I should actually say thank you very much for inviting me to speak and to everyone for listening to my presentation. I think the presentation may have just been slightly cut off at the end there, so I'll thank you now in person. Yes, and in direct answer to your question, on the Plant Healthy website, so planthealthy.org.uk, there is a self-assessment tool which is free. So you can register on the website, and essentially it takes you through a set of approximately 20 questions, and there's guidance attached or associated with each question, which is really just to try and help people become familiar with the standard. We also have guidance documents. We've got some online modules that were developed by FERA, and we've converted those into e-learning modules, which we hope to launch next week. So I hope there is a lot of freely available information available to help people. And of course, they can do it in their own time, and at a certain point when they feel like they're ready to become audited, then they can contact me through the website. I'll be very happy to have an initial discussion with them just to talk them through the process.
Brilliant. Okay, thanks very much, Alistair. It's a very, very new scheme. You've just been launching it really since last year, I suppose. Has anybody gone through the scheme so far, and is there a network of nurseries that perhaps people could chat with and talk about their experiences of going through the audits and registry, or is it very, very new?
Well, I'm pleased to say that there's 4 nurseries that have been certified, and they're mainly forestry nurseries. So they tend to supply forestry whips, transplants, saplings. And although it's only 4, we've actually added up all of the amount of plants they supply each year, and it works out about 90 odd million. But they tend to be about that size, so not and sort of fields of thousands upon thousands of plants. So we have started. It's been challenging, as you can imagine, in this year. We launched in February 2020, so not exactly the ideal time to launch anything, really. And as you can imagine, part of the audit is actually a site visit. So that's been, we've had to find our way through that. The site visits that we have been on, we've obviously conducted with a high level of human biosecurity, as well as obviously plant biosecurity. And we actually just completed another audit last Thursday. So I hope within the coming days we'll be up to 5 nurseries registered, and there's quite a number in the pipeline. Actually, on the Plant Healthy website, under the certification tab, there is now a directory that lists the nurseries that have registered. In terms of the second part of your question, is there a network? I would say that the forestry nurseries have very much taken the lead on this. And I should say that this scheme was a scheme that was demanded is a bit strong, but certainly pushed for by the sector. It actually also very neatly dovetailed in with plant policy as well, the 2014 plant health strategy for GB, which also suggested such an approach. So I do hope it's a coming together of both the government and the sector. In a sense, all we're really doing is just delivering what people have been asking for. But as I say, I think a lot of the impetus has come from the forestry nurseries, particularly because they've had experience in recent years of quite severe plant health issues with ash dieback, mentioned in the presentation. So I would say the 2 groups are the Horticulture Trades Association Tree and Hedging Group and the Confor Nursery Producers Group. And I think if you contact either of those, there will be representatives who will be able to give you an idea. I should also say that the certification body, the one certification body that we have operating at the moment, NSF, we haven't quite finalised the agreement. We hope to do so shortly. But Grown in Britain, the one certification body, they will be holding a webinar on the 11th of December to basically talk people through the experiences of the initial certified businesses. So the managers of the certified businesses will be there to take questions and hopefully give answers that will encourage people to become involved.
Excellent. Thanks very much. It's great that it's moving forward. You mentioned there the webinar you've just done, and the tail end perhaps has been lost. I should remind everybody that it will be available for them to watch in their own time, and can watch again with that. So Sarah Gould will make that available for everybody to watch.
I'm entirely sure I've done. I'm not the most technical of people, so apologies if it was at my end.
No, I'm sure it wasn't. You mentioned there the working with government and various other groups, and you put one slide up which showed a large number of partners in Plant Healthy. I'm interested in how you managed to get people from right across the range of forestry and ornamentals and so on together to come up with such an important new standard for the industry. How did you manage to pull them together, generated interest amongst them, and get everybody to agree to take things forward?
Well, thank you for asking that question. That's a very good question. It's certainly not me. A lot of this work has been done before I really became involved in it. I was quite happily working in the forestry sector in an NGO, but I know that there's been a lot of people working very hard on this agenda. Well, pretty much since 2014, 2015. I suppose if I had to put my finger on one particular moment in time, it would have been a conference at Highgrove in February 2018. And that was at that conference, they decided to form an alliance. And again, one of the mechanisms that people thought would be a good way to galvanize and actually put something substantive, a positive action that people can take, was the idea of this scheme. So essentially that summit was very much the inception of the alliance. And since then, working with all the member organizations, we've put together a terms of reference, and the alliance agreed to become the governing body for the scheme, and we're moving forward on that basis. And much of the work is, as I say, has been down to the members, and the chair, who is Sir Nicholas Bacon, who was recently the president of the Royal Horticulture Society. But there's been many organisations involved, and I could list them all off, but there's 19 of them, and I hope they're represented in that slide.
Thanks very much, Alistair. Now, Charles Warner has asked a great question, and I'll just read this out to you. In 2014, the Horticulture Wales project hosted a presentation from AFA, the Animal and Plant Health Agency. On the whole, people seemed fairly unaware of the various plant health risks on and sometimes over our doorstep. Now, Charles says, as a plant wholesaler that does not import, I've been trying to grow awareness of these issues for years, but with little effect. From your angle, do you see that retailers and consumers are any more aware than they were 10 years ago? So thank you very much for that, Charles. I didn't realize it was 10 years since that.
Yes, I mean, I can only speak anecdotally. I've certainly given presentations, so I was, the Horticulture Trades Association, who I work closely with, they've been absolutely fantastic on supporting this particular initiative. A lot of the thinking and the impetus has come from the HTA. We had in November last year, there was the Cultivating Retail Conference. So many garden centres from across the country came to, I think it was Nottingham University, and I gave a presentation with some of this content that we presented today. So I definitely think people, that the retailers are aware. In terms of the general public, I think the International Year of Plant Health week that just happened at the end of last month, I'm entirely sure that raised good awareness amongst the general public. There's some very again, I think I put in the presentation a slide. There's some really excellent resources on that website, and I have to say there's a book called Izzy the Plant Inspector, that's aimed at, I think, sort of younger generations. But I have to say, I read it and learned from it, so I do encourage everyone to read it. And I think you can print it out and colour it in as well. So that could keep us occupied during lockdown, which I hope won't come. But yeah, I do hope, that people are becoming increasingly aware, and I have no real way of fathoming it with any sort of quantitative information.
Yeah, thanks very much, Alistair. Unfortunately, I've noticed that we're just coming to the end of our allotted time. But could I ask you a technical question, please? In the presentation that you gave, you talked about the term risk-based approach. How do you decide when a risk is high enough to act?
That is absolutely the key question. And well, the regulatory framework essentially takes a risk-based approach. That's how regulation is set, and it's all stems back to the UK Plant Health Risk Register, which is a very comprehensive register of the risks that particular pests present to the UK. What we've tried to do is turn that round, rather than a national coverage through regulation, is enable the businesses to take control, take responsibility, and really understand what the threats are to their particular operation. And as I said, there was that 9-step circle, and it really it comes down to the nursery really understanding the host plants that they buy, grow, supply, what the threats are from the various pathways onto their site, within their site, and from their site. And an understanding that it's a dynamic situation. What we know, unfortunately, from human biosecurity, that pests or pathogens can emerge, can spread quite quickly. And I will say there's some very good work being done by Forest Research and the Centre for Ecology and Hydrology on mapping particular high-risk pests using the EPPO database. And I really encourage for that work to be taken forward into a usable, practical tool for the horticultural sector, because then it will really help them conduct the pest risk analysis for their site. But yeah, ultimately it comes down to awareness and understanding and having a good relationship with your suppliers. And I should say, because it's a big subject, but I should say there are guidance documents on the Plant Healthy website that I hope will help people start to get their head around how they can conduct a risk assessment for their site. My final comment is this is all new. It's a new scheme. It's a new way of looking at things, and as we go forward, the Plant Health Management Standard will be updated, and we hope that we can hone in on a really robust approaches to making sure that our sites and indeed our nation are appropriately protected.
Thank you very much, Alistair. I'm really sorry that we have to finish there, but I'd like to thank you enormously for joining in. I think this scheme's so important. I think it's central to what we're doing to try and improve plant health within Wales and within the UK. So it's great to hear from you and great to introduce it to people working in the ornamental and in the food and horticultural sectors. It is a really important scheme, and I hope that all of you listening will look for more information and start looking at the audits and move forward on that. And please spread the word to other people as well about the scheme. So thank you very much, Alistair, and thank you very much, everybody, for joining in. It's great to have you here, and first thing on a Monday morning, and I hope you have a great day moving on to work now, and a great rest of the week. Look forward to seeing you more of the sessions. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you very much.